Welcome, deep divers. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're focusing on just one source, but it's packed with insights on communication and, well, learning itself.
That's right. Sometimes a single example just crystallizes things perfectly.
Exactly. And today, that example is an intermediate English podcast. Now, it's designed to teach language, sure, but we're looking deeper.
Hmm.
Our mission here for you, our listener, is to sort of pull back the curtain on how it works. We want to extract these practical nuggets about communication, about teaching that you can use, whether you're learning something new yourself or just trying to get a point across more effectively.
Yeah, definitely useful beyond just language learning.
So what is it about this particular resource that makes it, well, worth this focused deep dive?
Well, what's really fascinating, I think, is how it jumps straight into a relatable situation.
Hmm.
It uses these two characters, Alex and Sarah,
Okay.
and their plan, just a simple afternoon out, gets totally thrown off by a sudden storm. It's instantly recognizable, right?
Mhm.
That feeling of plans changing unexpectedly because of the weather.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Exactly. So it grounds the learning immediately in real life, not some abstract concept.
Yeah.
It's about how you actually deal with a situation, not just, lists of words.
That relatability factor feels huge, doesn't it? And it's not just like a gentle shower they describe.
No,
The scenario ramps up. It becomes a proper storm that makes it feel more dynamic, more urgent somehow.
right. The stakes are slightly raised, which makes the language feel more necessary.
And the detail they include is pretty specific too. I noticed that. It's not just vague bad weather.
Hmm.
They mention a storm. Yeah, heavy rain, it's windy, there's thunder, lightning, even flooded streets.
Yeah, quite vivid.
It paints a real picture. These aren't just vocabulary words. They're like elements of a problem you need to talk about, maybe solve.
Precisely. And you're not just learning the word umbrella in isolation.
Right.
You're learning it because you might genuinely need to take shelter from that heavy rain and wind. Context is everything.
Okay, so that specificity, the realism, how does that connect to learning more broadly? Why is having this kind of, well, tangible problem like bad weather so good for making things stick?
Well, it taps into something fundamental about how we learn. When you create a situation that has a clear, immediate need to know, it changes everything.
Need to know.
Yeah. Suddenly, learning isn't just passive memorization, it's active problem solving. When you hear thunder, the phrase take shelter isn't just vocabulary anymore.
It's functional. It's advice.
It's a tool you need right now.
Yeah.
And that urgency, that practical need, creates this really strong cognitive anchor. It helps embed the information much more deeply. It's what educational folks call situated learning, learning in the actual context where you'd use the knowledge.
That makes a lot of sense. That need to know really drives it home. And often that need feels even stronger when there are other people involved, right? What about Alex and Sarah? You mentioned them. How do their different roles help?
Yes. They aren't just cardboard cutouts. Alex is the one whose plans get disrupted, maybe feeling a bit worried.
Okay, the concerned one.
And Sarah is more the advisor, suggesting alternatives, maybe offering reassurance. This dynamic is brilliant because it models a real conversation.
So it's not just a script.
Not at all. It shows turn-taking, how one person voices a concern and the other responds. It teaches the flow, the give and take of actual dialogue. You're learning social interaction, not just words.
Okay, so we've got this realistic scenario, the specific vocabulary tied to it, and the modeled interaction between characters. Where does the learning go next? How does it build on just describing the storm?
This is where I think it gets really interesting, because it moves deliberately beyond just description into, well, social skills.
Social skills
Yeah.
in a weather scenario.
Absolutely. The podcast explicitly teaches how to do two key things: make suggestions politely and express concern. Think about it, when plans get disrupted, just stating facts isn't enough.
Right, you need to navigate the change with other people.
Exactly. It's about managing the interaction, keeping things smooth, showing you care. These are vital communication skills in almost any situation, not just bad weather.
Okay, I'm intrigued by the making suggestions politely part. How exactly do they teach that? What kind of language tools do they give the learner?
They break it down really nicely. They give concrete examples like, maybe we should stay inside. That's quite soft, isn't it?
Yeah, tentative.
Then there's, why don't we go to the cafe instead? A bit more direct, offering a clear alternative, but still phrased as a question.
Okay.
And let's wait until the storm passes. That implies a shared decision, kind of collaborative waiting.
So it's about the nuance, different ways to propose something.
Precisely. It shows that language isn't just about conveying meaning, but about managing relationships, about being diplomatic when plans have to shift. It's teaching that subtle art of suggestion, often using modal verbs like should or could to soften things.
That's really useful. And what about the flip side, expressing concern? Why is that highlighted as important here?
Well, that taps into something pretty fundamental, doesn't it? Expressing concern. Saying things like, are you okay in this weather? Or maybe it's getting dangerous out here. It's about empathy.
Right, showing you care.
It's about connection.
Yeah.
It's signaling responsibility and awareness of the other person's well-being. I mean, sometimes hearing, are you okay, can make a bigger difference than knowing the exact wind speed.
That's a really good point. It elevates the communication beyond just the practical details of the storm.
Yeah, and it raises this important question, I think. How often do these soft skills, this ability to connect and show empathy, become just as critical, if not more so, than the purely factual or technical aspects of handling a situation? In work, in life, it's huge.
Absolutely. It builds trust, fosters collaboration, especially when things are a bit chaotic, like in a storm. And speaking of managing the situation, I noticed the source also seems to teach how to sort of check for updates or adapt plans based on the weather. Is that about building adaptability?
I think so, yes. It's moving beyond just reacting to the rain hitting the window towards proactive management.
Okay.
Discussing, checking updates, or even just talking through how plans might need to change equips the learner with a more flexible mindset. It's about taking some agency, not just being a passive victim of the weather.
Yeah, being responsive.
Responsive, adaptable communication, that's a skill that goes way beyond language learning itself. It's about mental agility, really useful in pretty much any part of modern life.
Okay, so we've got the realistic scenario, the polite suggestions, expressing concern, adaptability. It's quite layered. Now, let's peek under the hood a bit more. How are these different pieces actually taught? What are the specific instructional elements they use?
Yeah, this is where you see the careful design. It's quite systematic. They don't just, throw everything at you. They have clear vocabulary highlights.
Right, the weather words we mentioned.
Yes, but also crucial safety terms like rainstorm, maybe hail, even slippery roads, things you actually need to know for safety.
Practical stuff.
Very practical. Then there's a specific grammar focus. They look at things like modal verbs should, could, might want to, specifically for making suggestions.
Ah, linking the grammar directly to the function.
Exactly. And also the present continuous tense for describing what's happening right now. It is raining, the wind is blowing. It makes the description immediate and natural.
And I think you mentioned pronunciation earlier.
Yes, they include pronunciation tips, especially for maybe trickier weather words. It acknowledges that sounding clear is part of communicating effectively.
Okay, so vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, that covers the knowledge base.
Mhm.
But how do they make sure the learner can actually use it? Is there an active part?
There is, and this is key, they have what they call a mini speaking challenge.
Okay.
Learners are actually prompted to practice, to try forming their own sentences, suggesting new plans, or expressing concern in response to the scenario.
So they have to produce the language themselves.
Precisely. It forces that shift from just understanding to actually doing. It's about building confidence through practice in a safe, structured way. That active component is crucial for making the learning stick.
That combination, the vocabulary, the grammar, linked to function, the pronunciation help, and then the active practice, it sounds very deliberate. How does this whole package work together to meet that overall goal? Helping learners, talk about weather, change plans politely, show concern confidently.
Well, this really gets to the heart of effective instruction, doesn't it? The systematic progression is what builds that confidence.
Also.
Learners start with the building blocks, the words, the grammar rules. Then they see them used in a realistic context through Alex and Sarah's conversation. They understand how it works. But the final step, the speaking challenge, that's where they have to pull it all together themselves. They have to retrieve the language, structure it correctly, and actually say it. That active recall and application is what solidifies the learning.
So it moves from knowing to doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It transforms knowledge that might be fragmented into an integrated, usable skill. It's not just learning about the language, it's learning to use the language effectively in a specific type of situation. Honestly, it's a great model for teaching almost anything.
That structure and the immediate relevance of it all. Yeah, it does seem like a powerful way to learn something and actually be able to apply it quickly. It's not just theory, it's practice built right in.
Right.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. As we reflect on this deep dive into just one learning resource, what are the main takeaways for our listeners?
Wow.
We definitely saw the power of using realistic, relatable scenarios.
Absolutely. Grounding the learning in a situation that feels real, maybe even a bit urgent, makes a huge difference in how well it sticks and how practical it feels.
And we also spent a good bit of time on the communication skills beyond just description, the importance of making polite suggestions when plans change.
Yeah, and expressing concern. That reminder that communication is fundamentally about human connection, empathy, navigating social situations, not just exchanging data.
And finally, we looked at the instructional design itself. That multi-layered approach combining the vocabulary, the grammar, pronunciation, and crucially, that active practice.
hmm It really provides a blueprint, doesn't it, for how to structure information, any information really, so that people can truly grasp it, retain it, and ultimately use it confidently. It's about building competence systematically.
It definitely is a model for learning and for teaching effectively.
And what's really fascinating when you pull it all together like this, it clearly shows that true mastery doesn't matter if it's a language, a technical skill, or even just navigating a tough conversation. It isn't just about knowing the facts or the rules.
What else is it about then?
It's about knowing how to handle the human element, how to adapt gracefully when things don't go as planned, how to genuinely connect with people, show you understand even, when the forecast is uncertain. It's really about being effective and adaptable, not just being technically correct.
That's a powerful thought to end on. It pushes us to think beyond just the content of what we communicate or learn and consider that how the empathy, the adaptability, the structure, a great challenge for all of us to consider. What situation in your own life could benefit from applying these principles of clearer communication, more empathy, and more structured learning? Something to think about. Until next time, keep deep diving.